I'm Charlotte, and in this video I'm going to share 3 experiences with crystals that blew my mind and opened my eyes to their extraordinary potential and magical qualities. The first experience was a meditation with a crystal called a Kyanite, and this was part of the early stages of my training as a crystal healer. And the Kyanite was there to help clear and cleanse our energy fields, but also to invoke the Archangel Michael, who's all about protection, but also about cutting through fear with this flaming blue sword. So I sat in meditation with the Kyanite, and my heart just started to absolutely pound in my chest. It was very unexpected, and I started to feel these sensations of panic. And what I realized was I was actually fearful of letting go of my fear. And I sort of sat through the meditation feeling really quite uncomfortable. But when we talked about it afterwards, we realized that actually the ego is trying to protect us, and it uses fear to try to keep us safe. And it was about being afraid of really stepping into my full power. It can be quite difficult for especially women to do this because of social expectations and historical connotations. You know, we've been sirens and witches and shrews in the past, and sometimes it can feel like unsafe to step into that real full potential that we have. And what I learned from this experience was the energy of this crystal opened a portal into understanding fear in a completely different way. I learned that it's the ego trying to protect us from future pain or disappointment, but actually in doing that, it's severing us from love. And what we need to do is to say thank you so much to our ego and to the fear for trying to protect us, but we're okay and we don't really need it anymore, so we can actually let it go. And that was the power of this crystal experience, to reframe this relationship and to release some energies that had been very, very deeply held. The second experience was actually receiving a distant crystal healing treatment from a great crystal healer called Tracy. And I was quite skeptical about this experience because she was in a different building somewhere else in the world, and I hadn't experienced quantum crystal healing in this way before, so I didn't really think anything was going to happen. I lay down on my bed, I put some meditation music on, and I was so skeptical that I was almost imagining being embarrassed that I wouldn't have any feedback to give her at the end. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, I had this feeling that my soul was literally coming out of my body and floating basically above me. And it wasn't like I could see myself from a bird's eye view, but I knew that there was some dimension of my being that had actually exited and that was above my physical body. And then within a few minutes, tears just started rolling down my cheeks. And I wasn't expecting that at all because I hadn't been feeling sad, but it was an overwhelming feeling of love that just flowed out through tears. And I started to feel this incredibly powerful, loving energy. And the next thing I knew, I heard these words: "We are here and we will always be here." And I started to get the feeling that there was this angelic presence around me. I sort of started to see light, angelic beings forming this circle around me. And I was just so awash with this feeling of what I can only describe as a universal, divine, loving energy. And then what was even more bizarre was that when I connected with the crystal healer afterwards, I mean, I had to calm down because I was crying so much. But when we spoke afterwards, before I described the experience that I had had, she described something extremely similar. She'd been working with all of the pink crystals. She was very guided to tune into the heart chakra and to work with the Archangel Metatron. And she had seen a circle of angelic beings in her mind's eye while she was doing the crystal healing. And I had not told her about my experience. So the fact that we both saw this circle of beings and that we were very much tuned into the heart chakra energy and this universal love, it just blew my mind. And from that moment, I realized there really is something quantum going on when we tune into crystal energies, and when we have healing at a distance, which you might not think is as powerful as placing physical crystals on your body. I'm telling you, it really, really is. The third experience was when I gave a crystal healing treatment to a client, and she psychically tuned into the very specific details of a crystal that she knew nothing about. So when I was preparing for the session, I had a very strong impression, which happens quite often, that she was supposed to be working with a crystal called Tree Agate. This is a little piece of Tree Agate here. And I always remember what this crystal represents, because in one of my favourite crystal healing books, it's described as supporting healthy ecosystems. And you can think about the tree and its roots and how it's part of a forest and how all elements of the forest support each other and create this healthy whole. So I placed this crystal on her stomach area in between the sacral chakra and the solar plexus chakra, with the intention that it was going to really help her with her digestion, because she had mentioned that that was something that she was dealing with. And when we spoke about the experience afterwards, she said to me, I felt like you were 3D printing my gut and creating a new healthy ecosystem in my digestive area. And I was just thinking, how is it that you have used the word ecosystem to describe the felt sense of your experience? And that is literally the word that I use to remember the energy and the properties of this crystal. And again, it was that kind of moment of awe and wonder and curiosity about what is going on when we connect with people in this very quantum entangled way through the portal that is crystals. So I hope that helped you to become curious yourself about crystals and their potential for magical connective moments. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.